Very good morning to all of you, my friends. So I think it's the first, it's my first lecture today for the revisionary batch. So I am CA Vipin Bohra. I'll be taking care of the remaining, in fact, most of the remaining chapters of cost and management accounting. So I request you guys to please pay attention. Further, a special request that whatever the queries or comments you guys want to post, please post it over the portal. Because it's like, if there are many students who have joined over Zoom, so they do post their messages over Zoom, so I have to scroll up and down to view these messages or queries. So better it will be, and it will be better for you guys also and for me also, to post the queries over the portal. So I'll make sure that each and every query of the students will be addressed. Don't worry, guys. So let's start with overheads. So let's start with this chapter, overheads. In general, in the previous batches, I've taken overheads. So I used to take 3 sessions on overhead, but this time only 2 sessions are allocated because it's a revisionary batch. So I'll make sure that most of the concepts I'll cover in these 2 sessions only. We'll be focusing more on the practical questions, and few parts will be focusing on the concepts also. So try to be more interactive. Whatever the queries you have, whatever the questions I ask, do post your queries, or whatever the questions I'm asking, do post your answers. So let's start with this chapter, overheads. Now, let's start from very basic. When talking about the total cost of a product, the cost can be classified in 2 parts. That is direct cost and indirect cost. When talking about the total cost can be classified in 2 parts. That is direct cost and indirect cost. When talking about what is direct cost, the cost that is directly attributable in manufacturing a product is direct cost. What is direct cost? That is directly attributable in manufacturing a product is direct cost. When talking about indirect cost, the costs that play a supporting role in manufacturing a product is indirect cost. So indirect cost, the cost that play a supporting role in manufacturing a product is indirect cost. Direct cost, the cost that is directly attributable in manufacturing a product. And when talking about indirect cost, the cost that play a supporting role in manufacturing a product is indirect cost. Further, direct cost can be classified in 3 parts. That is direct material, direct labor, and all the direct expenses. When talking about indirect cost can be indirect material, indirect labor, and all the indirect expenses. Now the point is, what's the difference between direct and indirect cost? What is the main cost that is attributable? What are the supporting costs? What is the difference between direct material and indirect material, or direct labor or indirect labor, or direct or indirect expenses? Let me give you this. Let me give you a brief about, the differences with the help of few examples. So let me give you a brief about the difference between direct and indirect material, direct and indirect labor, and direct and indirect expenses with the help of few examples. So let's say I'm the manufacturer of wooden furniture. Now, when talking about the raw material that is used in manufacturing wooden furniture, it's very simple that wood is my raw material. Again, I repeat, guys, I'm the manufacturer of wooden furniture. This wooden furniture is made up of wood. So wood is what? My direct material. Now, to paste the wood, we use some kind of glue. And apart from this, we use some nails so that it should get fixed. And once the furniture is ready, we remove the nails. So now, these nails are what? They are nowhere present in the final product. But yes, we need these nails to fix the furniture. And once the furniture is ready, we remove the nails. So this nails is what? My indirect material. And this wood is what? My direct material. Another example, let's say I'm the manufacturer of potato chips. I repeat again, I'm the manufacturer of potato chips. Now, these potato chips are made up of potatoes. So potato is what? My direct material. Now, these potato chips are manufactured in machines. And for the smooth functioning of machine, we need grease, lubricating oil, etc., etc. So these grease and lubricating oil are nowhere present in the final product. But yes, to manufacture the potato chips smoothly, we use this grease, or we can say lubricating oil in the machinery. So this grease and lubricating oil is what? My indirect material. And potato is what? My direct material. Another example, let's say I'm the manufacturer of cakes and biscuits. Now, these cakes and biscuits are made up of what? Flour, milk, egg, milk powder, etc. So these are the major ingredients in manufacturing a cake. So these flour, milk powder, egg is what? My direct material. Now, to maintain the hygiene standards, my chef uses cap, apron, and hand gloves. These cap, apron, and hand gloves are nowhere present in the final product. But yes, to maintain the hygiene standards, I have to use these things. So this cap, apron, or hand gloves are what? My indirect material. And egg, milk powder is what? My direct material. So I hope this difference is clear to all, that what is the difference between direct and indirect material. Direct material, the material that is directly attributable in manufacturing a product. That is, uske bagair product manufacture hi nahi ho sakta. That is what? My direct material. And indirect material that play a supporting role, just like lubricating oil or grease, or we can say that caps or aprons or hand gloves, whatever it is. Now, when talking about the difference between direct and indirect labor, again, let me give you a very simple example. Let's say I'm the manufacturer of shirts. I'm the manufacturer of shirts, and I have appointed a team of 100 tailors. They are dedicatedly manufacturing these shirts. That means they are stitching my shirts. So whatever the amount paid to these tailors who are actually stitching the shirts is what? My direct labor. I repeat again, guys, direct labor. Let's say I'm the manufacturer of shirts. Now these shirts are stitched by tailors. So whatever the amount paid to these tailors is what? My direct labor. Now, to supervise the work done by the tailors, I have kept 4 supervisors. These supervisors are nowhere directly involved in manufacturing a shirt, but yes, they do supervise the work done by my tailors or my workforce. So amount paid to these supervisors is what? My indirect labor. So amount paid to the tailor who are actually manufacturing the shirt is direct labor. And the amount paid to the supervisor who are actually supervising the work done by the tailor, they are nowhere involved in manufacturing my shirts. But yes, to supervise the work, I need to pay them something. That is my indirect labor. Let's say, further, I have kept a housekeeping staff to maintain the cleanliness in the factory. Again, they are nowhere involved in manufacturing the shirt, but yes, I have to pay my housekeeping staff. This is what my indirect labor. Another example, for security purpose, I have kept a watchman outside the factory gate. Again, this watchman is nowhere involved in manufacturing the shirt, but yes, I have to pay him so that there is an adequate security at my premises. So amount paid to the gatekeeper or the watchman is what? My indirect labor. I hope this part is clear to all. Any doubts or queries, you guys can please post. Further, when talking about direct and indirect expenses, when talking about direct expenses, there are few examples, that is power, coal, and fuel, or we can say amortization of dies and molds, or we can say if we are paying any sort of technical or know-how fees, then if we are amortizing it, then it is also covered in direct expenses. But indirect expenses, there is a long, long list, never-ending list. Rent, depreciation, electricity, or we can say auditor fees, whatever it is. So वो expenses जो किसी में भी कवर नहीं हो रहे हैं, that is neither direct material, neither direct labor, neither direct expenses, neither indirect material, neither indirect labor, are all covered in indirect expenses. There is no list of indirect expenses. कुछ भी हो सकता है. Everything what is not covered in these 5 points will be covered in indirect expenses. So I hope now you guys are thorough that what is the difference between direct cost and indirect cost. So what is direct cost? I repeat again. The cost that is directly attributable in manufacturing a product is direct cost, and this cost play a supporting role in manufacturing a product. If you guys have any doubts or queries in this part, or any examples you guys want to post, you guys can please post. Waiting for your queries, guys. Anyone having any doubt? Dharmik, Om Krishnan, Mayank Jain, Ayushi Mehta. Anyone having any doubts? Then you guys can please post your queries. Kavita, Siddhant Patel. So fine. Now, when talking about this chapter overhead, what is overheads? This indirect cost is what we call as overhead. So what are overheads? The indirect cost. That is the total of indirect material, indirect labor, and indirect expenses is what? My overheads. So when talking about this chapter, we'll be focusing only on this part, that is indirect cost. That is the cost that play a supporting role in manufacturing a product. So what are overheads? Very simple, the indirect costs are overhead. What are indirect costs? The costs that play a supporting role in manufacturing a product. And what all costs are covered? Indirect material, indirect labor, and indirect expenses. If you guys have any doubts, you guys can please post your queries. Those who want to copy this part can please copy. Mr. Shoaib, see, depreciation. See, right now we are not discussing about fixed cost or variable cost. We are discussing about direct and indirect cost. Depreciation in general, it is a standing cost only. Just addressing your query, but yes, we are talking about direct and indirect cost. When talking about depreciation, it is covered in indirect expenses. Further, depreciation is in most of the cases it is a fixed cost, but yes, in few cases it can be a variable cost. I'll be discussing in service costing this part. Anyone else? Those who want to copy can please copy. Now, further, this indirect cost is also incurred at 3 stages. that is at factory. Second is office and admin. And third one is selling and distribution. So there can be uses of indirect material, indirect labor, and indirect expenses at factory level also, at office and administration level also, and selling and distribution also. So overheads are incurred at 3 stages. I'll be using now the words overheads rather than indirect cost because these words we can use interchangeably. So these overheads can be incurred at 3 stages, that is at factory, office and administration, and selling and distribution. For better understanding, I'm writing few examples for your reference. So overheads at factory level can be rent of factory building and machinery, further it can be repairs to machinery, it can be depreciation on machinery. If indirect labor is given, then it is by default for the factory only. These are the few examples. It's not the complete list. When talking about the office and administration, it can be postage or telegram. Audit fees if it is given. Printing and stationery. Manager salary. Depreciation on office furniture. Etc. When talking about selling and distribution, it can be salesman salary, depreciation on delivery vehicles, advertisement cost. If carriage outward is given, then carriage outward. So these overheads can be at factory level also, office and administration level also, and selling and distribution level also. So these are the few examples for your reference. If you guys have any doubts or queries, you guys can please post. Waiting for your queries. Further, I request you guys to please copy this explanation. Now, before starting with this chapter, let me give you a brief about what all we'll be discussing in this chapter. So first part, what we'll be discussing, in fact, we have already discussed, is the meaning of overheads. So this part we have already covered, that is, what do you mean by overheads? What are overheads? The indirect cost. What are indirect costs? The costs that play a supporting role in manufacturing a product. Indirect costs cover indirect material, indirect labor, and indirect expenses. Now, what are indirect labor, indirect material, indirect expenses? I've already discussed. Now, thereafter, we'll be discussing distribution and absorption of overheads. Thereafter, we'll be discussing meaning and treatment of under or over absorption of overheads. Thereafter, we'll be discussing few questions on machine hour rate, calculation of machine hour rate. We'll be discussing few questions on calculation of machine hour rate and few miscellaneous points if the time permits. I request you guys to please copy this part. This is what the summary of this chapter. So now let's start with distribution and absorption of overhead. So let's start with distribution and absorption of overhead. Now, when talking about the distribution and absorption of overhead, there are various stages. There are various stages in distribution and absorption of overhead. So wherein the first stage is what? Estimation of overheads. The first stage is what? The estimation of overhead. That is, we need to estimate the overhead. Now, from examination point of view or practical question point of view, this information that what all are the estimated overheads, this will be given in the question. आप लोगों को कोई exercise नहीं करनी है to estimate the overheads. This part will always be given in the question. No need to do exercise to estimate the overheads. This information will always be given in the question. Now, thereafter, the distribution process starts. With this, we will first allocation of overhead. We first allocate the overheads. If allocation is not possible, then we apportion the overheads. After apportionment, we do reapportion the overhead. I discuss this part in detail. Why allocation? What is the difference between allocation, apportionment, and reapportionment? So thereafter, allocation, then apportionment and reapportionment. And the last part is absorption. We do calculate the absorption rate. So last part is absorption. So these three are part of distribution of overheads. Allocation, apportionment, and reapportionment are the three parts of distribution of overheads. So the first one is estimation of overhead. This information will always be given in the question that what all are the estimated overheads. Thereafter, either we allocate or apportion. After allocation or apportionment, we do reapportionment. We reapportion the overheads of the service department to the production department. I'll be discussing this part in detail. And after reapportionment, we do calculate the absorption rate, and that rate is used to charge the overheads of a particular production department to a particular product or to a particular job to calculate the total cost. I'll be covering these parts in detail one by one. So I request you guys to please copy this explanation. So without wasting time, let's start with the distribution of overheads. Just give me a minute, guys. So let's start with the distribution of overheads. Now the point is, why distribution is required? I mean, overheads को distribute क्यों करना? What is the need of the distribution? So let me discuss this practically with the help of an example. So let's say I'm the manufacturer of two types of product. Let's say mobile phones and laptops. I have a manufacturing unit wherein I manufacture two types of products. That is mobile phones and laptop. Now, when talking about the direct material, there is a separate material to manufacture mobile phones and separate material is used to manufacture laptops. So when talking about the direct material part, separate raw material is purchased for mobile phones and separate raw material is the raw material is separately purchased for manufacturing laptop. Again, when talking about the labor force, that is the direct labor, again there is two separate teams are there. Team of engineers are there to manufacture mobile phone and laptop. So again, this amount, these two amounts, that is material, again we can easily identify that this is the material for manufacturing mobile phone and this is the material that is used in manufacturing laptop. Again, for labor also we can say this much amount is we are paying to the engineers to manufacture mobile phones and this much we are paying to the engineers to manufacture laptop. Further, again, when talking about the direct expenses also, the direct expenses are also incurred separately for manufacturing mobile phone and laptop. So in short, all the direct costs are incurred separately for manufacturing mobile phones and laptop. Now the point is this the total cost? Is this the total cost? No, guys, this is not the total cost. Because apart from these direct costs, there are other costs, supporting costs also that are incurred. And to calculate the total cost of these mobile phones and laptops, we need to consider the indirect cost also that is incurred in manufacturing mobile phones and laptops. Now, the point is these indirect costs are not incurred separately. These indirect costs are incurred as a whole. ये जो indirect cost or we can say overheads are incurred as a whole. Separately incur नहीं होते. Let's say rent. The rent cost is incurred as a whole. Depreciation, electricity, accountant salary, watchman salary. So these costs are not incurred separately. They are incurred as a whole. So these overheads are incurred as a whole. So to calculate the total cost of these mobile phone and laptop, we need to distribute these costs that is incurred as a whole to these two products to calculate the total cost. So I hope this part is clear that what is the need of distribution. Why? Very important, these overheads are not incurred separately for every product. They are incurred as a whole. So to calculate the total cost of that product, we need to distribute, we need to charge these overheads to these two products to calculate the total cost. So that's why we need to distribute these overheads to the various production department and service department to calculate the total cost. Now, this point is clear that why we need to distribute. Now, the point is how to distribute. If you guys have any doubts in this part, you guys can please post your query that what is the need of distribution? Why we are not distributing direct material, direct labor and direct expenses? Because they are incurred separately. Why we are distributing overheads? Because they are incurred as a whole. हमने एक ही premise rent पे लिया है. So we are paying rent in aggregate. Let's say 1 lakh rupees per annum. So this rent need to be distributed among these two products, depending upon whatever it is, to calculate the total cost. Any queries, any doubts, guys? Those who are over Zoom, I think I'm not getting any messages from your end. I hope every one of you guys are thorough with the concept. The board is visible. I'm audible, guys. Are you guys present in class or not? No comments or no messages from your end, guys. Any doubts? So Ayushi is present in the class. Ayushi Mehta is present in the class. Anyone else who is present in the class? Okay, guys. So if you have any queries, then you guys can please post your query. Siddhant Patel. Anyways, guys, whatever the queries you guys have, you guys please post your queries. Whatever the queries you have, I'll try my level best to address all of the queries. So anyways, what is the need of distribution? I have already discussed. Now the point is how to distribute. No worries, Mr. Shoaib. I'm getting your messages over the portal. That's okay. Good, Om Gupta. So now when talking about distribution, as I said, that it can be either allocation or apportionment. Either it can be either allocation or apportionment. Now the point is, as I said, that we will either allocate the overheads or we will apportion the overhead. Now the point is, what is the difference between allocation and apportionment? These two words I have used, allocation and apportionment. What's the difference between allocation and apportionment? Again, let me discuss this with the help of an example. As I said, I'm the manufacturer of two types of product. Let's say mobile phone and laptops. I'm the manufacturer of two types of product, mobile phone and laptop. Now let's say I'm paying a supervisor salary. Let's say rupees 50,000 in aggregate. And let's say I have appointed 5 supervisor and I'm paying at the rate 10,000. So in aggregate, I'm paying rupees 50,000 as the supervisor salary. So first and the foremost thing, supervisor salary is what my overheads. And I have appointed 5 supervisors and I'm paying them at the rate of 10,000 per month. Now, let's say some additional information is given in the question, wherein they are saying that 3 supervisors are supervising the work, supervising in the mobile department, and 2 supervisors are working in the, let's say, laptop division. I repeat again, in aggregate, I have 5 supervisors, 3 supervisors are appointed. 3 supervisors are appointed for the mobile division, and 2 supervisors are appointed for the laptop division. So here in 50,000, we can distribute it very easily. That says 3 supervisors are for the mobile division, so 3 into 10,000. So 30,000 goes to the mobile division, and 2 supervisors are appointed for the laptop division, so 2 into 10,000, 20,000 is for the laptop division. Herein, this 50,000 cost is already incurred separately. That is, 3 supervisors are for the mobile department, 2 are for the laptop division. So we can distribute it direct. Another example, let's say I'm paying a rent of rupees, let's say 1 lakh. Let's say I'm paying a rent of rupees 1 lakh and I have taken 2 premises on hire. I have Swati, it's for the first time I'm getting your message. Anyways, good morning, Swati. It's for the first time I'm getting your message. So I have taken 2 premises on rent, and the rent is 1 lakh, premise 1 and premise 2. So the premise 1 rent is 60,000 and premise 2 rent is 30,000. Let's say this information is given in the question that I have taken 2 premises on rent. I have taken 2 premises on rent. Premise 1, we are paying a rent of 60,000. Premise 2, we are paying a rent of 40,000. Now it is given in the question that premise 1 is for the mobile division and premise 2 is for the laptop division. So this 1 lakh rent also we can distribute it very easily directly only. That is, since premise first is used for the mobile division, so we can distribute directly 60,000. Premise 2 is used for the laptop division, so again 40,000 we can distribute it directly. So here, in both the cases, what we can see is there's the overheads are separately incurred for mobile division and laptop division. So they can be distributed directly. So this process is known as allocation. So what is overhead allocation? Very simple. When the overheads are incurred separately and can be distributed directly. It is allocation. In short, हिंदी में अगर ओवरहेड सेपरेटली इनकर होते हैं पर्टिकुलर प्रोडक्शन डिपार्टमेंट के लिए, तो हम लोग उन ओवरहेड्स को क्या करेंगे, डायरेक्टली डिस्ट्रीब्यूट कर देंगे. सो दिस प्रोसेस इज नोन एज अलोकेशन. व्हाट इज अलोकेशन? When the overheads are incurred separately and can be distributed directly, this is what we call as allocation. Thank you so much, Mr. Shoaib. Thanks for the compliment. So when the overheads are incurred separately and can be distributed directly, this process is known as allocation. But let's take a different case. When we have taken only one premise on hire, the rent is 1 lakh and there are no 2 separate premises. Further, let's say I have appointed 5 supervisors and these supervisors are jointly working for the mobile department as well as the laptop department. Now the question is how to distribute. Again, when the overheads are not incurred separately, they are incurred as a whole and we cannot distribute them directly. So what to do? Very simple, we have to apportion. So when apportion comes into picture, when the overheads are not incurred separately, then we have to apportion the overheads. So let's say rent Rent is incurred as a whole. Electricity as a whole. Supervisors are jointly working in mobile division as well as laptop division. So supervisor salary. Let's say depreciation, insurance. So these expenses are incurred as a whole. Separately incur nahi ho rahe. Separately for every department nahi ho raha. They are incurred as a whole. So herein we cannot allocate these expenses. So we need to apportion these expenses. We need to apportion these overheads. Now the point is how to apportion. So if allocation is not possible, we have to apportion. So how to apportion? So the first step is we have to identify the basis of apportionment. And then we will apportion or distribute. So if the overheads are not incurred separately, they are incurred as a whole. So we cannot allocate. So we need to apportion the overhead. So to apportion the overhead, we have to identify the basis of apportionment. That is, किस basis पे हम लोग distribute करेंगे. And once the basis is identified, we will distribute in the ratio. Now the question is how to identify the basis, how to distribute. I'll be discussing this with the help of a practical question. Okay, Sunil, let me check. Admin sir, are you there? Ajit sir, are you there? Admin sir, are you there? Admin sir, are you there? Ajit sir, are you there? Students, is the chat box disabled by the admin? Please check. Because I have got a message from Sunil Dev that the chat box is disabled over Zoom. You guys can write it over the portal also. Admin sir, is the chat box disabled? Because one of the student posted over the portal that the chat box is disabled. Because I'm not getting any messages. Those who are like not comfortable to post over the portal, at least they can post it over the Zoom. No? Please enable. It's done. Yeah. Okay. Fine. No worries. Sorry for the inconvenience, students. Great. Yes, I think many students posted. Anyways, that's okay now. Great. Good morning, everyone. So now, very simple, guys. When talking about allocation, very simple. If the overheads are incurred separately, we will distribute it directly. So that is what we call as allocation. But if the overheads are incurred as a whole, they cannot be distributed directly. So we have to apportion them. And how we will apportion? Very simple. We will first identify the basis of apportionment and then only we will apportion the overheads. If you guys have any doubts in this part, you guys can please post your query. Those who want to copy this explanation for revision purpose, you guys can please copy. Giving you 2 minutes time. Great Ayushi. Great Pratima. Great Om Krishnan. Anyone else having any doubts or queries can please post. I request you guys to please copy this explanation. Giving you 2 minutes time, guys. Further, those who have already copied, please request you guys to open your study material. I'll be discussing one question from the study material. So as I said, if the overheads cannot be allocated, we need to apportion the overheads. That is, we have to identify the basis of apportionment and then we will distribute. So let me give you a few examples that what can be the basis of apportionment. Let's take few example. Overheads and so let's say when talking about rent, what can be the basis of apportionment of rent? Very simple. We can say floor area. So rent is generally distributed on the basis of floor area. So let's say I have the manufacturer of mobile phones and laptop, and my total rent is, let's say, 1 lakh. And equal floor area is used for laptops also and for mobile phones also. So we will distribute the rent equally. Let's say 40% area is used for laptops and 60% area is used for, let's say, mobile division. Then rent will be distributed in the ratio of 40:60. So floor area will be given, then rent will be distributed in the ratio of floor area. Further, when we can say electricity, see, electricity can be distributed. This information will always be given in the question, but yes, you need to identify that what will be the basis of apportionment for a particular overhead. So when talking about electricity, if light points are given, then the best approach is to distribute in the ratio of light points. But let's say if light points are not given, then we can distribute this in the ratio of floor area. Further, let's say depreciation. Let's say depreciation. Depreciation किस पे लगता है? Machinery पे. So whatever the machinery that is used for laptop, we'll just find out that what is the value of machinery that is used for laptop and what is the value of machinery that is used for manufacturing mobile phones. So the depreciation will be distributed in that ratio. So depreciation can be distributed in the ratio of capital value of assets. Further, when talking about the power cost, it can be distributed in the ratio of total horsepower. Further, again, if insurance cost is given, insurance on machinery, then it can be distributed in the ratio of capital value of machinery or value of machinery. Further, let's say repairs are given. So generally the repairs are done on machinery. So again, repairs will be distributed in the ratio of machine hours. जितना टाइम मशीन ज्यादा चलेगा उस बेसिस पे हमारे रिपेयर्स कॉस्ट भी ज्यादा लगेंगे. सो इफ देयर आर 3 प्रोडक्शन डिपार्टमेंट and the machine hours are given, then the repair cost will be distributed in the ratio of machine hours. Further, let's say material handling cost. So just check if material requisition are given or value of material handled are given, then or weight of material is given, then we'll distribute it accordingly. So if material handling is there, weight of material or material requisition. So you have to use your skills and have to identify that what will be the basis of apportionment. And accordingly, once the ratio is identified, we can easily apply the basic mathematics and distribute the overheads. If you guys have any doubts in this part, these are the few examples I have written for your reference. If you guys have any doubts, you guys can please post your query. No, electricity is to be done on the basis of either light points or floor area, not on the basis of horsepower, because power cost is different and electricity cost is different. Swati. Further, very important, if the general overheads are given, it can be distributed either on the basis of machine hours or I request you guys to please copy this explanation, giving you 2 minutes time, then we'll start with the practical question. So page number 4.23 of the study material, I request you guys to please open your study material, page number 4.23. I request you guys to please open your study material. I'll be discussing a question number, illustration number 4, page number, illustration number 4, page number 4.23. So let's start with illustration number 4, page number 4.23 from the study material, wherein Sanj Limited is a manufacturing company having 3 production departments. Illustration number 4, page number 4.23, wherein Sanj Limited is a manufacturing company having 3 production departments, that is A, B, and C. And they have 2 service department also, that is X and Y. The following is the budget for the December 2022, wherein direct material for A, B, C, X, and Y is given, wages are given. Now the rent, power, depreciation, and other overheads are given. Further, additional information is given, wherein area in square feet is given, capital value of assets is given, machine hours are given, and horsepower of machine is also given. This part, that is the next part, that is a technical assessment you guys have to ignore. As of now, you have to ignore. Now, what you are required, the first point only will be solving, wherein you are required to prepare a statement showing distribution of overheads to the various departments. Second part, we will be discussing separately. So as of now, the first section wherein material, wages, factory rent, power, depreciation, and other overheads are given, that is relevant. Additional information is relevant for us. And then the first question of required, that is prepare a statement showing distribution of overheads to the various departments. So this part we will be discussing as of now. The remaining part will be covering, but not now. So let's start with this question, wherein we have to prepare a statement showing distribution of overheads. We have to prepare a statement showing distribution of overheads. So the first one is particulars, then my total overheads. Further, what will be the basis of, see herein the overheads are, see this direct material, the overheads are given as a whole, so we have to apportion the overhead rather than allocation of overhead. So basis of apportionment. Then there are 3 production department A, B, C, and 2 service department X and Y. A, B, and C, and service department X and Y. So particulars, total, basis of apportionment, A, B, C, so direct material, direct wages are given. See, direct material for the production department, it's a direct cost, and direct material and direct wages for the service department is treated as overheads. Why? I will be discussing this part separately in the next question. Direct material, we will, for service department, we will treat it as overheads. Why we are treating them as overheads, I'll discuss this part separately. So as of now, just writing 2 lakh and 1 lakh. Total 3 lakh. Again, I am ignoring the direct material and direct wages of the production department. Why? I'll be discussing in the next question. What's the reason behind discussing this question is the distribution of overheads. Further, direct wages is again 3 lakh. One lakh and 2 lakh. Now let's start with the distribution process. So the first one is factory rent. The first one is the factory rent. The first one is the factory rent, that is 4 lakh. And herein, when checking the additional information, the area in square feet is clearly given. See, in the additional information, area in square feet is given clearly. So the basis of apportionment of factory rent is what? Area in square feet. Area in square feet, and it is given 500, 250, 500, 250, and 500. 500, 250, 500, 250, and 500. So let's distribute this 4 lakh in this ratio. So this will be 1 lakh. This will be 50,000. This will be 1 lakh. This will be 50,000. And this will be 1 lakh. So in short, we have to distribute 4 lakh in this ratio, that is 2:1:2:1:2. If you guys have any doubts, you guys can please post your queries. Now the next is power cost. The power cost is given, that is 2,50,000. The power cost is given, that is 2,50,000. It will be distributed in the ratio of horsepower. See, here in horsepower are also given and machine hours is also given. So we will consider both. So herein it will be distributed in the ratio of horsepower into machine hours. So since the horsepower of the machine is also given and the machine hours are also given, so we will consider both. So the ratio of distribution will be 50 into 1,000, that is 50,000, is to 80,000 is to 80,000 15,000 and 25,000. So in short, 50 is to 80 is to 80 is to 15 is to 25. So this will be 50,000, 80,000, 80,000, 15,000, and 25,000. So this is all what about power cost. The next is depreciation. Herein, the capital value of assets is given. So depreciation is to be distributed in the ratio of value of assets. So the depreciation is given, that is 1 lakh rupees. It is to be distributed in the ratio of capital value of assets So capital value of assets in lakh is given, that is 2:4:2:1:1. So this will be 2 lakh, 4 lakh, 2 lakh, 1 lakh, and 1 lakh. The last other overheads. See, when talking about other overheads, either it will be distributed in the ratio of direct wages or direct labor or machine hours. So herein no information is given as regards labor hours. So we will distribute in the ratio of machine hours only. In general, the other overheads are distributed either on the basis of labor hours or machine hours. Since labor hours are not given, so machine hours we are left out with only one option. So other overheads 9 lakh will be distributed in the ratio of machine hours only. My other overheads are 9 lakh. It will be distributed in the ratio of machine hours. When talking about machine hours, it is 1,000, 2,000, 4,000, 1,000, 1,000. So 1:2:4:1:1. So this will be 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 4 lakh, 1 lakh, and 1. So this is how we will get the total overheads of the various production department and service department after distribution. So this will be 4,50,000. This will be 7,30,000. This will be 7,80,000. This will be 5,65,000. And this will be 6,25,000. So this is the final overheads after allocation and apportionment. These two overheads, we can say they are allocated, and rest all are, we can say we have apportioned the overheads. If you guys have any doubts with allocation or apportionment, you guys can please post your queries. Sorry guys, 1 second, there is a mistake. I've kept 110 extra. So total depreciation is 1 lakh. So 20, 40, 20, 10,000 and 10,000. So the total figures will change. So this will be 2,70,000. This will be 3,70,000. This will be 6 lakh. $4,75,000. 5,35,000. One additional zero. Sorry, guys, for the inconvenience. So this is the way you guys have to distribute the overheads. I'll be discussing this part now. Om Krishnan, thank you so much. I'll be discussing this part in detail. Yes, guys. I'll be discussing this part, Srini. Don't worry. In fact, I'll be discussing this part also, Ayushi. Don't worry. So this is the first part what we have finished. So if you guys have any doubts in this part, then you guys can please post. Thereafter, we'll discuss with the simultaneous equation method, trial and error method, why we are not taking direct cost of the production department as overhead. I'll be discussing this part in detail. So if you guys have any doubts in distribution and allocation and apportionment of overheads, you guys can please post. Perfect. And thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much, Mr. Krishnan. I have put up additional zero by mistake. Giving you 2 to 3 minutes time to copy this part, please. Yes, Sunil Dev, Om Gupta, Shoaib, any doubt? Swati? Ayushi, any doubts till now? I request you guys to please copy this explanation. See here, and both the horsepower of machinery and machine hours are equally important for distribution of power. So that's why I have considered both these points. Shoaib. Anyone else, guys? Perfect, guys. So now let's take a break of 15 minutes. I'll be back after 15 minutes with the process of reapportionment of overhead. So we will start with that what's the need of reapportionment, and thereafter what all methods are there to reapportion the overheads. So let's take a break of 15 minutes. Thereafter we'll start with the reapportionment part. So admin sir, 15 minutes break डाल दीजिए. Admin sir, are you there? Admin sir, are you there? 15 minutes break डाल दीजिए please. Thank you so much, sir. Sir, everything is going smooth? Welcome back, guys. So now we are done with the first and second step, that is allocation and apportionment of overheads. So let's start with the reapportionment of overheads, that is the last part of distribution of overhead. Now, before starting with why we are how to reapportion the overhead, let's discuss first that why we are reapportioning the overheads. So let's say I have a company wherein there are three production departments, P1, P2, P3, and two service department, S1 and S2. I have three production department, P1, P2, P3, and S1 and S2. Now, very important, guys, after allocation or apportionment, we have got the final figures of P1, P2, P3, S1 and S2. Now, the point is very important, guys. We need to reapportion the overheads of the service department to the production department. We need to reapportion the overheads of the service department to the production department. The point is why we are reapportioning the overhead. That is the question. So see, guys, the units are only manufactured in production department. In service department, no units are manufactured. These service department are meant to provide services to the production department. I repeat again, in service department, no units are manufactured. These service departments are meant to provide services to the production department. So, since no units are manufactured in service department, so how we will charge the overheads of the service department to a particular product or to a particular job? So what we do is, we distribute the overheads of the service department to the production department, since the units are only manufactured in the production department. Let me discuss this concept with the help of a practical example also. So let's say I have a service department, let's say housekeeping department. Now, why housekeeping department is set up? Not to manufacture any product, but to provide services to the various departments. That is the cleaning services. Another example, let's say I have a maintenance department. Again, this maintenance department is nowhere directly involved in manufacturing a product. They are simply, we have created this maintenance department to provide services to the various production departments. Let's say further I have set up a canteen. Again, this canteen is nowhere directly involved in manufacturing a product. It is not a production department. No units are manufactured in canteen. Again, this canteen is what? It is meant to provide services to the various departments. Another service department, let's say human resource department, HR department. Again, HR department is nowhere directly involved in manufacturing a product. They simply recruit staff and place them in the various departments. So since no units are manufactured in service department, and to calculate the total cost, we need to consider the overheads of the service department. So what we do, we will calculate the total overheads of the service department and we will distribute it to the various production department, and accordingly we will calculate the total cost, and we will charge these overheads of the various production department to a particular product or to a particular job to calculate the total cost. So that is the logic behind the redistribution of overheads of service department to the various production department. Very simple. Why? Because no units are manufactured in service department, first point, and service department are meant to provide services to the various production department and service department. So I hope this part is clear to all, that why we are redistributing the overheads of the service department to the production department. Now the point is how to redistribute the overheads of the service department to the production department. Now there are various situations. We'll be discussing these situations one by one. The first situation is when service department provide services only to the production department. When service department provides services only to the production department, service department सिर्फ production department को service provide कर रहा है. The second situation is when service department provide services to the production department and other service department. When service department provides services to the service department also and the production department also. So herein, when talking about this part, when service department provides services only to the production department, we use direct redistribution method. And when service department provides services to the production department as well as other service department too, again in these two situations are possible. Reciprocal and non-reciprocal. When talking about non-reciprocal, what is the difference between reciprocal and non-reciprocal? I'll discuss this part separately. In case of non-reciprocal, we'll use step ladder method. Step ladder method. And when talking about reciprocal, again there are three methods, wherein the first one is simultaneous equation method. Repetitive distribution method. And trial and error method. When talking about reciprocal, again, there are three methods. One second. When talking about if it is reciprocal, then there are three methods, that is simultaneous equation method, repetitive distribution method, and trial and error method. And in case of non-reciprocal, it is only step method. Now the point is, what is the difference between reciprocal and non-reciprocal? What is the difference between reciprocal and non-reciprocal? So let's say when talking about reciprocal, let's say there are two service department X and Y. Let's say there are two service department X and Y. Now, X service department is providing services to the various production department as well as department Y also. Further, when talking about Y is providing services to the other production departments, that is the production department as well as X also. So in short, when the service department provides services to each other, X is providing services to Y in return is also providing services to X. It is what we call as reciprocal. So when the service department provides services to the other production department and each other also, that is both the service department are providing services to each other. X is providing to Y is also providing to X, then we call it as reciprocal. But when talking about non-reciprocal, see, when talking about non-reciprocal, X service department is providing services to the production department and Y. But Y is providing services only to the production department. Y is not providing to X. So X is providing to Y, but Y is not providing to X. They are not providing to each other. X is providing to Y, but Y service department is not providing services to X. This is what we call as non-reciprocal. If you guys have any doubts, then you guys can please post your queries. I request you guys to please copy this explanation. Yes, Swati. Perfect. Anyone else having any doubts or query, you guys can please post your queries. Yes, Shoaib, Arin Jain, Mallu Jadar, Ayushi Mehta, Om Krishnan. Any doubts? Srini? Srini, now I'll be discussing your part. Don't worry. So we'll be starting with these methods one by one. So let's start with the first part when the service department provides services only to the production department. So we use this direct redistribution method. So I'll be discussing one question of study material only. I request you guys to please open your study material. I'm discussing illustration number 1. I'll be discussing illustration number 1 from study material. So I request you guys to please open your study material. Illustration number 1, page number 4.18. So Excel Limited has 3 production department and 4 service department. So there is a company, Excel Limited. They have 3 production department and they have 4 service department. The expenses for these department as per primary distribution summary are as follows. Primary distribution means the process of allocation and apportionment is already over. They are done with the allocation and apportionment. Now we have to reapportion the overheads of the service department to the various production department, that is A, B, and C. So there are 3 production department, A, B, and C, and service department are also there: store, timekeeping and accounts, power, and canteen. Further, it is given in the question that the following available information is also available in respect of the production department. So see, this stores department, timekeeping department, power department, and canteen department, they are providing services to the various production department, and the basis of distribution is also given. So we have to identify the basis and we have to distribute. So guys, very important, we are discussing the second stage, that is reapportionment of overheads of service department to the production department. So herein horsepower of machinery is given, number of workers is given, value of stores requisition is given. Prepare a statement apportioning the cost of service department over the production department using direct redistribution method. Statement showing redistribution of overheads. So there are 3 production departments, that is A, B, and C. Basis of distribution. Total and particulars. So we have the overheads of the stores, timekeeping and accounts, power, and canteen. Stores, timekeeping and accounts, power, and canteen. And the total amount is also given 4 lakh, 3 lakh. This amount is after allocation and apportionment. So 4 lakh, 3 lakh, 160, and 1 lakh. 4 lakh, 3 lakh, 160, and 1 lakh. Now, when talking about the stores, the overheads of the stores department will be distributed on the basis of value of stores requisition. This is given in the question itself. So the basis will be what? Value of stores requisition. And value of stores requisitions are 250, 150, and 100. So 25:15:10. So this will be 2 lakh. This will be 1,20,000. And this will be 80,000. Next is timekeeping and accounts. So timekeeping and accounts are more or less dependent upon the number of workers. So this will be distributed in the ratio of number of workers And the numbers of workers are given, that is 20 is to 15 is to 15. So this will be 1,20,000, 90,000, and 90,000. The next is power. Since the horsepower of machinery is straight away given, so it will be distributed in the ratio of horsepower of machinery. Horsepower of machinery, that is 3 is to 3 is to 2. So this will be 60,000, this will be 60,000, and this will be 40,000. And when talking about the canteen also, it is dependent upon the number of workers. So this will be distributed in the ratio of number of workers. And this is 20 is to 15 is to 15. So this will be 40,000, 30,000, and 30,000. So 320, 420, this will be 3 lakh. This will be 2,40,000. So this is all what about direct redistribution method. If you guys have any doubts, you guys can please post your queries. Waiting for your queries, guys. Waiting for your queries, guys. If you guys have any doubts in the direct redistribution method, you guys can please post your queries. We are done with the first part, when service department provides services only to the production department. It's one of the easiest method. So let's start with the next method. Those who want to copy this explanation can copy. Further, the same explanation is given in the study material. Still giving you a minute time. Those who have any queries or who want to copy can please copy. Now the next point, what if service department provides services to the other service department? Let's start with the reciprocal part. So in reciprocal, that is when service department provides services to each other. When service department provides services to each other, अगर service department जो है एक दूसरे को service provide करता है, that is X is providing to Y and Y is providing services back to X. So herein in this reciprocal approach, there are 3 methods, that is simultaneous equation method, trial and error method, and repetitive distribution method. So let's start with the first point, that is simultaneous equation method. I'll be discussing this simultaneous equation method with the help of an illustration that is given in the study material. Further, I'll be giving you one question also. I request you guys to solve it in live session only. So let's start with simultaneous equation method. I'm discussing illustration number 3 from the study material, page number 4.22. Page number 4.22, illustration number 3. Now see, service department expenses are given wherein there is a boiler house whose expenses after allocation and apportionment, we call it as after primary distribution, the overheads of the boiler house is 3 lakhs and pump house is 60,000. Further, the overheads are to be distributed to the various production department as service department. So it is given that the overheads of the boiler house are to be distributed to the production department in the ratio of 60:35, and further 5% will be distributed to the pump house. So boiler house is providing services to the pump house. Now let's talk about pump house, wherein pump house provides 10% services to the production department A, 40% to the B, and 50% to the boiler house. So boiler house is providing services to the pump house, and pump house is providing services back to the boiler house. So this is what we call as reciprocal. And this question can be solved using 3 methods. First one is repetitive distribution method, simultaneous equation method, and trial and error method. So we are starting with simultaneous equation method. So this approach is very simple and not that time consuming. So let's start. Now, at the end of the day, our motto is what? To distribute the overheads of the service department to the production department. Now, this 3 lakh are the overheads of the boiler house. But are these 3 lakhs the total overheads of the boiler house? No, because some percentage of pump house overheads will also go to the boiler house. I repeat again, these 3 lakh are not the total overheads of the boiler house, because apart from 3 lakhs, some percentage of pump house overheads will also go to the boiler house. Further, when talking about pump house also, these 60,000 are not the total overheads of pump house. Apart from 60,000, some percent of 3 lakh will also goes to the some percentage of 3 lakh, that is of boiler house overhead, will also go to the pump house. So we don't, we have not the data, the data is not ready. The total overheads data is not ready, neither for the boiler house and pump house. So let's assume the total overheads of boiler house B. हम लोग assume करते हैं कि see, these 3 lakh are not the total overheads. Apart from 3 lakh, certain percentage of pump house will go to the boiler house. So let's assume that the total overheads of boiler house be B, and assume the total overheads of pump house be P. The total overheads of boiler house be B and pump house be P. So B will be what? B will be equal to what? 3 lakhs plus certain percentage of P. 3 lakhs plus certain percentage of P. And it is given in the question that 50% of the pump house overheads will go to the boiler house. 50% of the pump house overheads will go to the boiler house. So we can say 50% of pump house overheads will go to the boiler house. But again, we don't have the total overheads of P. We don't have the total overheads of pump house. So herein, when talking about P will be what? 60,000 plus certain percentage of the total overheads of boiler house. And how much percentage? It is given in the question that 5% of the boiler house overheads goes to the pump house. So we can say 5% of. If you guys have any doubts in this equation, you guys can please post your queries first. Yes, anyone having any doubts? Waiting for your queries, guys. Just answer yes or no. Waiting for your answers, guys. If you guys have any queries, then please raise hands or please post the message. Else I won't be able to understand that you are getting what I'm teaching or not. Yes, I've got answer from Ayushi, Om Krishna, Kavita Kulla. Rest everyone. Are you guys thorough with the concepts? Okay, Shoaib, clear, sir. Om Krishnan, clear, sir. Anyone else? Yes. Liana, any doubts? Mallu Jadar, any doubts? Are you guys thorough with the concepts? Okay, Pratima, I have got clear, sir. Yes, Swati, Om Gupta, Mohammad Shoaib. Waiting for your answers. Anyone having any doubts? Okay, Arinjan, clear. Liana, clear. Anyone else having any doubts? Guys, I'm going to ask you a question and I want correct answers from your end. So if anyone have any doubts, then you guys can please post that, sir, samajh mein nahi aaya. I'll explain this again. So fine, B is equals to 3 lakh plus 50% of P and P is equals to 60,000 plus 5% of B. So now let's solve this question simultaneously. So B will be equal to what? 3 lakh plus 50% of what? P. And P, the value is given. We have already calculated P, that is 60,000 plus 5% is 0.05 B. So open the bracket, we'll get B is equals to 3 lakh plus 60,000 into 50%. This will be 30,000 plus 50% of 0.05. So this will be 0.025 B. So 1 minus 0.025, this will be 0.975 B equals to 3,30,000. So the value of B will be 338,462. If you guys have any doubts in this part, you guys can please post your query. 338,462. So now we can calculate the value of P easily. So P will be equal to 60,000 plus 5% of B. And we have already calculated, that is 338,462. So the value of P will be 76,923. So we have got the total overheads of B and total overheads of P. If you guys have any doubts, then you guys can please post your query. So now we have got the total overheads of B and P. that is boiler house and pump house. Now we will distribute it to the department A and B. So production department A and B. When talking about boiler house, we have total overhead what? 338,462. So of this 338,462, 5% already gone for pump house. So we are left out with 60% and 35%. And for pump house, it is 76,923. So of this 76,923, 50% is already gone to the boiler house. So we are left out with 10% and 40%. So 76,923 into 10%. So this will be 7692. And this will be 3076. 30770. $30769. Similarly, 338462 into 60% goes to production department A. So this will be 203077. And 35% goes to B. So this will be 118462. So this is how we'll get the total overheads of the production department A and B. This would be 149231. $210,769. If you guys have any doubts in this part, you guys can please post your queries. Waiting for your queries, guys. Those who want to copy the explanation can please copy. Ms. Srini, I hope you are clear with the concept of simultaneous equation. Ms. Srini, I think you have raised a query that, sir, what's the difference between simultaneous equation and trial and error method? Yes, Swati, any doubts? Sunil Dev, Mohammed Shoaib, any doubts? So now a question for you guys. I request you guys to solve this question. There are two production department A and B and service department S1 and S2. S1 provides 50% services to A, 30% services to B, and 20% to S2. When talking about S2, S2 provides 60% to A, 35% to B, and 5% to S1. Further, the overheads of S1 and S2 are given. S1 it is 5 lakh and S2 it is 7 lakhs. You are required to calculate the total overheads of S1 and S2. I request you guys to please calculate the total overheads of S1 and S2. Waiting for your answers, guys. Okay, Mr. Srinivasan. So now waiting for your answers. I have addressed all your queries. Now it's the time to pay back. So waiting for your answers. What are the total overheads of S1 and S2? Let's see who all are thorough with the concepts. A question for you wherein S1 and S2 are the service department. And A and B are the production department. So let's see who answers first. Waiting for your answers. Quick, guys. Max to max 3 minutes. That's it. Still waiting for the answers, guys. It's a very easy question. Just a change in figures. That's it. So Om Krishnan is the first one to answer. I'm not sure your answer is correct or incorrect. Waiting for your answers. Very good, Om Krishnan. I appreciate your efforts. Rest, everyone. So I've got an answer from Shoaib also. I'm not sure your answers are correct or not. Just waiting for the final answers. Waiting for your answers, guys. I've got answer from 2 students. Yes, Srinivasan, Ayushi Mehta, Kavita, Pratima. I've got answer only from, okay, so I've got answer from Pratima. I think all the 3 answers are same. Okay, Areen Jain, I think your answers are different. Very good, Areen. Let me check. Last 1 more minute. Waiting for your answers, guys. Quick. Giving you 1 more minute time. Okay, so I've got answer from Ayushi Mehta also. Different answer from Ayushi, Areen Jain. Okay, Mr. Abdan, I've got answers from your end also. So now different answers are coming. So let me check which one is the correct. Last 30 seconds now to post your answers. Rest all guys. Kavita, waiting for your answers. Mallu, waiting. Mallu Jadar, waiting for your answer. Liana Rias. Senthil Kumar, Mr. John. Kumaresan. Okay, so I've got answer from Kavita also. So it's a very simple question. Let the total overhead of department A be A. So let total overheads of department, sorry, S1 be S1 and total overheads of department S2 be S2. So S1 will be total 5 lakh plus certain percentage and S2 will be 7 lakh plus certain percentage. So the total overhead of S1 will be 5 lakh plus 5% of S2. And S2 will be what? 7 lakh plus 20% of S1. So substituting the value, so S1 will be 5 lakh plus 0.05 into 7 lakh plus 0.2 S1. So this will be S1 is equals to 5 lakh plus 35,000 plus this will be 0.01 S1. So S1 value will be 540,404. So the value of S2 will be 7 lakh plus 20% of 540,404. So these are the correct answers. Very good, Kavita. Your answers are correct. Abdan, you need to recheck your concepts. Ayushi Mehta, again, you need to refresh your concept. Pratima, very good, correct answer. Shoaib, Srinivasan, rest all, everyone correct. Perfect, guys. So this is all what about simultaneous equation method. I know, I think you have changed the percentage. Anyways, that's okay. Just read the question carefully before starting with the solution. So we are done with the simultaneous equation method of the reciprocal method. Now let's start with the repetitive distribution method. So let's get back to the study material. We'll discuss one question on repeated distribution method. repetitive distribution method. The name itself says that you have to repeatedly distribute the overheads. So let's take the figures what we have calculated from illustration number 4. In illustration number 4, there were 3 production departments, A, B, and C, and 2 service department, X and Y. We have already distributed the overheads. We are already done with the primary distribution, that is allocation and apportionment of overhead. And we have got the final figures, that is overheads after primary distribution. We have got the final overheads after primary distribution. We have already discussed that how to calculate the overheads after. We have already calculated the overheads after primary distribution, and it comes to 2,70,000. For B, it was 3,70,000. For C, it was 6 lakh. For X, it was 4,75,000. And for Y, it was 5,35,000. So we are already done with this exercise of allocation and apportionment. And after allocation or apportionment, we have got these figures. That is for A, B, C, X, and Y. Now in reciprocal, as I said that there are 3 methods of solving the question. The first one is simultaneous, second one is repetitive, and third one is trial and error method. So simultaneous equation I have already discussed in detail. Now let's start this question with the repetitive distribution method. Now see, the name itself says that you have to repeatedly distribute the overheads. Now herein in this question, it is clearly given that the overheads of the service department X will be distributed to A, B, C, and Y, and the department Y overheads will be distributed to A, B, and X. So the percentage of distribution is clearly given in the question. So ultimately, we have to repeatedly distribute the overheads till the time we get the figure in 2 digits. How come? Let's start. So let's first distribute the overheads of the X department. Distribution of X. How much overheads of X? Total 4,75,000. So we'll distribute 4,75,000. We'll distribute 4,75,000. To whom? A, B, C, and Y. So 45% goes to A. So we have subtracted 4,75,000. Now 45% goes to A. So this will be so 45% goes to A, that comes to 213,750. 15% goes to B. So this will be 71,250. 30% goes to C. So this will be 142,500. Now 10% goes to Y. So it will be 47,500. 47,500 goes to Y. Now let's distribute Y. The total overheads of Y are how much? 5,35,000 plus 47,500. 5,35,000 the original overheads of Y, plus 47,500 that is distributed from X. So the total overheads are 582,500. So 582,500. Now the overheads of Y will be distributed as follows, wherein 60% goes to A. So 349,500 goes to A. %35 goes to B, so 203,875. And remaining 5% goes to X, so it comes to 29,125. Now, the name itself says that you have to repeatedly distribute the overheads. So now we are done with this calculation of Y. Now again we will distribute X. We have to continue this process till these digits are for in two. I mean these figures comes to 2-digit or 3-digit. So distribution of again X. So 29,125 we have to distribute. So 45% goes to A. 13,106. 15% to B. 4,369. 30% goes to C, that is 8,737. And last 10% goes to Y. So this will be 2,913. 2,913. Now again we will distribute Y. It's a bit time consuming process. So if the question is silent, always use simultaneous equation method and solve the question. In all the cases, you apply any of the method, be it simultaneous equation method, be it repetitive distribution method, be it trial and error method, you will get the same answers. So again, 2,913 we have got. So now again, when talking about Y, 2,913 we will subtract here and will distribute to A, B, and X. So of this 2,913, so 1,748. 1,748 goes to A. 35% goes to B. So 1,019. And 5% goes to X, so it comes to 145. $1,749, 1,019 dash and 145. Now again, we have to distribute X. So this will be 145, we'll subtract. So 87, 60%, I think, sorry. 45% goes to A. So this will be 65. So this will be 22. This will be 44. Now, since we have got the number in 2-digit, so we will distribute directly to X and Y only, not to Z, because again, nothing is to be distributed to Z. So now the last part, that is distribution of Y. So we'll distribute 15 to X, A and B only. Since the figure is in 2 digits, so we'll distribute it to A and B only. So this will be 9 and this will be 6. So this is 0 now. So we have got the total overheads of A, B and C. So this will be 2,70,000, 213,750, 349. So this will be 848,179. Six five zero five four one. So this is the repetitive distribution method. The method is easy, but yes, it's very time consuming and there are chances that you might do mistakes in exam. So if the examiner is silent and if it is a reciprocal case, the best approach is to use simultaneous equation method. Those who want to copy this explanation can please copy. If you guys have any doubts or queries, you guys can please post your queries. Let me complete this part first, Shoaib. Yes, anyone having any doubts or queries, then you guys can please post your queries. Those who want to copy this explanation can please copy. The name itself says that repetitive distribution. It means you have to repeatedly distribute the overheads till the time it is in 2-digit and then directly distribute the overheads to the various production department, and then we can easily calculate the overheads of the production department. So we are done with the direct redistribution method when service department provides services only to the production department. Now the second part, when service department provides services to the production department as well as other service department. In this, we started with the reciprocal approach wherein we have discussed simultaneous equation method and repetitive distribution method. So 2 more methods are still pending. So very good, Ayushi. Perfect. So 2 more methods are still pending. So we'll be discussing these methods in the next session. And then we'll discuss the absorption rate, that is how to calculate the absorption rate. And the most important part of the chapter, that is calculation of under or over absorption of overhead. So we'll be discussing these parts in the next session. That is, I think the next session is on 14th. So we'll be covering all these parts in detail on 14th of October. So I request you guys to please revise what I have discussed in the previous in this session, and further try to solve the questions of study material. You guys will be able to. So thank you so much, guys, for your active participation in the session. Try to solve the questions in writing from the study material. Try to solve the same questions what I have discussed if you guys are still not thorough with the concepts, and then try to solve some advanced question. This is a revisionary session, so I'm just revising the concepts and the basic questions. In the coming session, I'll try to put up few questions on under or over absorption of overheads, and we'll try to cover some advanced questions also. So be prepared, guys. Thank you so much. God bless you. Have a fantastic day. Thank you so much.